Hey, Teddy K here for Best Buy Plugin, and in this video review we take a look at the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL, Google's latest Android flagship smartphones that feature bigger and better screens and a great camera. Anytime Google comes out with new phones, it means they're probably going to be pushing the envelope in some way. And you know, the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL very much do that. Now, they're not going to win any beauty pageants because they're not the sexiest devices, but they don't have to be. The point is the usability, and that's what I'm going to focus on here. Now, the specs, those are easy to find. What I want to address here is more so on how these phones work and what I experienced in using them. So let's start with just sort of the feel of them. Now, I know with the Pixel 3 XL, there's going to be some divisiveness over the notch at the top of the display. Personally, notches don't bother me as much on phones, but I definitely know people where it does. And, you know, if you're one of them, you might want to go with the Pixel 3. Now, 5.5-inch display with this, you know, with the feel, I actually preferred the Pixel 3 mainly because of that. It was easier for one-handed operation. It felt good. It was super light and really, really nice to use. And of course, no notch. Now, there's no real difference in performance between the two devices. You do get a high resolution display with the Pixel 3 XL, which I liked a little bit more for video, but I mean, they're both still fine. The point is, though, is that the displays in both cases are a lot better than the Pixel 2. The Pixel 2 and 2 XL used different OLED displays, which were lacking. They just didn't have the vibrancy that you would expect for a phone of this caliber. These two certainly rectify that with much better displays, and you'll probably enjoy looking at them a lot more. Overall usage is great because you're using stock Android. So with stock Android, I mean, it's just a clean interface. An Android 9 Pie is pretty straightforward as well. So especially if you're coming from a device which is a little bit more busy, like a Samsung device, this would be a huge difference because it just feels more lightweight. So I found both phones to be very zippy. I know that there were some issues that some other journalists and bloggers had reported. I hadn't experienced any of them, so I'm not sure. But you know, both function really, really well for me. I do want to focus quite a bit on the camera here because shooting with these was an absolute pleasure. And I don't say that about every phone, but in this case, I'm compelled to because the results just speak for themselves. So the way that you shoot with this thing is what's I think amazing about it is that there's not a lot of features. It's one of those things where you have the subtlety of pointing and shooting and knowing that in almost any condition you're probably going to come out with a very usable shot. That's really the Pixel 3 in a nutshell for me. And regardless of whether I was shooting during the day or at night, I felt like, okay, I'm covered. Now, it helps when you have certain features that make sense also. So the portrait mode is still great. I definitely highly recommend using it. And then you have something like Top Shot, where you shoot basically a motion as it's happening, and then you can go back and select and freeze which part of the motion you want as a photo. It's a fantastic feature, especially if you're shooting a moving object or if you're moving yourself. Then you also have super res zoom. So this is where you can, because there's no optical zoom, Google has found, well, using what AI or software basically, to use 2x digital zoom to emulate optical zoom. So that way you're zooming in and you're maintaining a lot of the detail. I haven't seen anything like that in digital zoom before. It's very cool. And then of course there's night sight. So night sight is outstanding. This is a feature that uses a lot of, what Google calls AI, but it's basically software that takes a burst of images and then, mishmashes them all together in different exposures. And anyway, there's a lot of math going on. But the point is that the photo that you come out with is illuminated in a way that simply would not have been possible otherwise. You can literally shoot a completely dark scene and get a usable photo out of that. That wasn't something that was typically possible on a phone. Some of the shots I got were outstanding. I felt very nice or very good about some of the shots that I got because I don't know that I would have been able to get them with some of the other devices. Don't get me wrong, photo quality right now on phones is at a different level than I've ever seen it. It's really competitive out there right now, and other phones are shooting extremely well, not just Google's. But the point for me is basically that I was able to capture a lot of really good shots, and I was able to do it in a variety of conditions, and I didn't have to worry too much about it. So assuming that Google is going to continue to improve this, over time with software updates, I'm going to, venture a guess that the camera is only going to get better from here on in. Quick note though about video, you can shoot video the same ways you did before. However, there does not appear to be a very big difference, both in quality and just usability. You can't really shoot in any different frame rates. And other than a little bit of extra stabilization, I didn't really notice anything all that different as far as the camera went. Yeah, some low light shooting was better, but the dramatic differences are more for still shots. A couple other things I want to note, because they stick to the usability angle here, is that you get wireless charging, which is very cool. The Pixel Stand. Now, the Pixel Stand is a very cool wireless charger because it has some functionality to it. So you can put it on there and basically your phone and the stand become a Google Home device, which is very neat. If you have a Nest doorbell, you can, with a camera, you can actually, when someone rings the doorbell and you have the phone on the stand, it will actually show you who's there. So there's some very cool features that are there, and more are probably coming. So if you're interested in wireless charging and you are getting the Pixel 3, consider getting the stand as well in case you want those extra features, because they are pretty cool. And that's my review of the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL. For Best Buy Plugin, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.